Let me just see how my curls are. Okay, yeah.
Curls look great. I love your hair.
Oh, thank you.
But in your profile photo, it's straight.
Right. I wore it straight for a very long time. And
Bring
during
that closer, sorry.
during COVID, I couldn't go to my beautician. And so my sister, she used to do my hair as a kid. And now that's what she does. And so all I have to do is go to my sister and I get my curls. And I'm fine with it. And I just kind of get up in the morning and shake and go.
Really?
Yeah. I don't have to do all the flat ironing and all that stuff.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because that is time consuming.
It is. It's so, I would be, funny story. One time my husband came to the beauty shop because he's like, I thought you were cheating on me because you can't be here all day like you say you are. And I'm like, yeah, I'm here. And so that's how long I was there every time. And I just said, I can't do that anymore. It's too much work. It is. I cut my hair off at one point to prevent being there all day.
That's smart.
Yeah.
You're working efficient.
Exactly. But now the curl thing, they'll stay for another year until I figure something else out.
Maybe because I've only known you with curly hair, but it's like I can't imagine you without curly.
Really?
Yeah.
I loved it straight, but it's this is kind of like a new thing, and I like it. I like it. It's footloose and fancy free.
Footloose and fancy free.
It is.
I like that.
Oh, thank you.
So for anyone who isn't aware of Melody, what is it you do? I can show them. If you guys watching it, there's these amazing. I'm going to see if I can just poke it at this. Oh, it's not going to do it justice. These incredible cupcakes and cakes.
Yes, I actually just delivered a wedding cake on Monday, and it's always so stressful. And while I'm doing it, it's like, I love this until you have to deliver a cake in the Florida heat when it's 100 degrees outside, it feels like.
True.
But no, I am the owner and operator of Sweet Melodies Couture Cakes, and I started decorating cakes because my husband worked a lot, and I was like, oh, okay, well, let me find something to do with myself. And I like to bake, but my stuff was just, kind of homemade looking and things like that. And so I started going to Joann's Fabrics for cake decorating classes just to kind of pass the time while he was at work. And it turned into a thing, and I loved it. And my first cake, it was so awful. It was so awful. It was my first decorated cake was a baseball cake for my cousin who was turning like 7 and he played baseball, and I look back at it now and it was one of the worst things you will probably ever see in your life. The proportions were all off, and the figurines were tall because they were but I built like a stand with a stadium with and the people in the stadium were as big as the players on the field. It was bad. It was so bad. And so I've come so far. But once I started that, I was like, let me see if I can get it better. And I've never been able to let it go. And so.
Well, I'm glad because like the cakes. I mean, I've had a few cupcakes of yours, and what was the one I had? What was it? Last week, I think, or maybe the week before. It was like a Madagascar vanilla cream.
Yes.
It was like a shopping list just of the description. What was that one?
Yes, it's a vanilla cake, a homemade vanilla cake with a Madagascar vanilla bean buttercream. There's actually vanilla beans in the buttercream. I had one person come, was like, yeah, there's like dirt all through my buttercream. Like, no, those are actual expensive vanilla beans in your buttercream. And my first job in the cake business was to get a really good vanilla because that's the most popular flavor. And when I tried different types of vanillas and things like that, and a lot of people just think you can just go with a vanilla extract and call it a day, but that's not. No.
It tastes so different.
Right. Because there's love. Love is an actual ingredient in there.
So is that actually a thing? I mean,
it is.
You hear it all the time.
It is. Because you wouldn't do it if you didn't love it.
Yeah, it's true.
You wouldn't do it because it's
I guess it's what the
stressful.
care, isn't it? It's like you put the extra care in it. I'm taking it too literal, I think.
Yeah, because the only reason I'm back doing it, because I took a little break for a while, the only reason I'm back is because I love it. I love it so much, to the point where everybody's like, Melody, are you really going to leave corporate America to do cake full time? And I'm like, I think I am.
It's so evident when you talk about it. Like your face lights up, you know, and like that's something that's so important. Is like you can see the genuine enjoyment through your face and through even your body is just, it lights up when you start talking about it. Even the processes, like it's so evident that the beginning to the end is like you love the process, and I mean that comes through with the food. I mean the sweets, because it's, I don't know. I'm not a huge, actually, that's a lie. I'm a sweet person, but I'm not a fan of American sweets. I find them very like that, that artificial flavor. Whereas your ones don't have that artificial taste to it. It's like, oh, this is, like you said, it's actual vanilla bean. And yeah, I didn't want to have a cupcake when I saw you the last morning, because I was like, I don't normally eat till midday. And then you know, pulled out a sample. I'm like, oh.
Right. And I go to a lot of meetings in the morning. The last thing people think they're going to do is eat a cupcake for breakfast. And so I take that into account, but I'm like, listen, you got to try it.
You break us.
Yeah. Like, I mean, because that's what I do. And when I go to meetings, people's like, wait, you didn't bring any samples today? It's like, well, no, I brought samples last week.
You can't bring it every week.
Right. But I love to do that, though, because I love to try new flavors on different people. And if I'm trying a new flavor, it's like, I think this combination will work. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I've had one person stand up and it's like, no, that triple dark chocolate was not good. But he didn't like dark chocolate. So,
I mean, that's a red flag, isn't it?
And I was like, but, you know, I take that critique personally. And if somebody doesn't like it, that's totally okay. And let me know if I can improve anything. But if they do like it, which I prefer, of course. That if they do like it, then I love to hear that too.
Yeah.
And, it's taken a long time to get where I am now, but the fact that I do this for a living brings me joy. And I said, I'm not going to do anything that doesn't bring me joy anymore.
That's good. Now, how long have you been doing it for?
I started back in 2009 when I was my husband and I, we had just bought our house. I was kind of baking on and off before that when we had our apartment. And he's like, listen, I'm not going to get this fat. I can't eat cake every day. And so I was like, listen, try this, try that, try this, try that. But I really started back in 2009 when I left my job to do, I started 2009. 2010 is when I left my job. My sister saw my cake that I made for my cousin, right? The horrible one, the horrible baseball cake. And she was getting married. And we were at Publix looking at wedding cakes and looking at wedding cakes online and stuff like that. And she says, Mel, do you want to do my wedding cake? And I was like, are you serious? And she's like, yes. Now, this is my twin sister, by the way. We've been together since the womb. And she trusts me with her life. I trust her with my life. And I said, are you serious? Did you see my cake? She's like, yeah, but do you want to do it? I was like, yeah, I want to do it. And she's like, fine, it's done. You're doing it. I was like, okay. So she tells the family that I'm doing the wedding cake after this disaster, right? Everybody calls me and says, why are you doing this to her? I thought you loved your sister.
Ooh,
like, yeah. It
savage.
It was bad. It was bad. And my grandmother, who was amazing, she's an amazing woman, she bought my wedding cake because I got married before my sister. And she's like, why are you doing this to her? This was my only thing. This was my thing. I buy the wedding cakes. I'm like, Grandma, it's going to be fine.
She doesn't pay you.
Right, yeah. No, she did not even offer to pay me. You know, I think about that now. She didn't even offer. But my aunt called and then our mom called. And she's like, if you do this to my daughter, I will never forgive you. And I'm like, listen, Mom, I'm going to totally surprise you. Like, I'm practicing. It's going to be great. And the day of, everybody's freaking out because they think the cake is going to be a disaster. And of course it's not. It was nice. It had pearls and diamonds and roses and everything. So I kind of went all out on it. And everybody was like, Melody, the cake. I'm like, don't talk about the cake. Talk about her dress because she is beautiful. We'll talk about the cake later. And so afterwards, I was like, honey, I think this can be a thing for us. And he's like, no. And I was like, I really want to do this. And he's like, okay. And so I showed my boss the next week at work. I was like, look at the wedding cake I made. He's like, please don't leave me to do this full time. I'm like, of course not. A month later, I put my notice in to do cake full time. He's like, I thought you said you weren't leaving me. I was like, listen, I got to follow my heart on this. And that's what I did. And my first year in business, I made $400. It was the best $400 I've ever made in my life. And I loved it. And I undersold myself at first because you're just trying to get clients and things like that. So I made zero money. I lost money. My husband's like, listen, you can't do stuff for $20 anymore. But it was worth it in the end because I learned a lot. I learned a lot of new skills, a lot of new techniques. I perfected my flavors and built from there.
That's awesome. So it sounds like the pressure of the family forced you to really focus on it and make it right. And that it probably was a bit of a crippling pressure in a way because it's like, if you stuff up, especially with all that leading in, whoosh. So it was a good thing probably for you that, I mean, kudos to your twin sister for kind of forcing you to do it as well.
Right. After she said I could do it, she didn't worry about it a single time after that. She never asked a single question about it. She had the utmost faith in me. And now my family, they're amazing people. I don't want people to think that my family is like, rah, rah. No, they're amazing people. And I love them all dearly. But they were terrified because they saw my very first cake, which was not great.
It's proof that, again, the stakes, when there wasn't many, when there's not as much stakes, probably for the first baseball looking one, it's like, near enough is good enough, but a wedding,
right,
and your sister's wedding, there's so much pressure.
Absolutely.
And especially now that you're getting paid as well, that's another pressure. I mean, I'm so chill when I'm filming my own stuff, but when someone's paying me, it's the same thing. I'm like, I don't know about you, feel the same way, but whenever I get paid and someone's like, all right, let's move, let's do this, I'm like, awesome, I'm excited, they've said yes. I get the check for the deposit, super excited. Then it's like, oh, now I have to do it. And then it's, I have, all right, one hurdle, great. Then I go film it. I'm like, all right, this is okay. Then I go back home and I'm like, this is not good. And it's the same process even years into it. Do you experience that sort of performance anxiety?
Absolutely. I am a perfectionist when it comes to my cake, and my sister is the person that talks me off the ledge. I have to send her a picture. Is this because I see little imperfections and things like that? No one would ever see them, but I know what my swirl was supposed to look like. I know what my fondant decoration was supposed to look like. Yeah. And I have an image in my head of perfection. And if that's not what's in front of me, I'm like, oh my God, I got to do it again. And my sister will say, nobody's going to see that. It's fine. Just leave it alone. Because I have that same pressure because when they purchase my cake and things like that, they're usually celebrating something. And that cake is a part of that memory of that celebration. And if it's not perfect, I feel like I've messed up their celebration, or if something isn't right, or if it doesn't taste good, they're going to remember that negative taste or that negative experience with me because that was supposed to be a great experience overall for them. And so I totally have performance anxiety. Even though I know my flavors are great, I know what I do well, but it absolutely happens like, what, somebody's paying me for this? Oh my God, every order, it's like, oh my God, okay, here we go. Cupcakes, that's why I've started to really specialize in cupcakes because big, tall cakes, wedding cakes, things like that, they're just so stressful, especially on the delivery. And once I leave it, if somebody moves it, you know, things can happen, and that has happened before in the past. And I have to have people sign and say, hey, I left it in order.
Yeah.
And so if anything happens, it's totally scary. So now I stick to more smaller individual desserts that really don't, I guess.
Well, you can stabilize. Like, you got 4 right now in this box. It's like, I can even do that, and it's not a problem. Like, you know, angle it. It doesn't matter. It's cool. I've seen the cakes you do, and like, they're towers. And yeah, you can't move those things.
No.
It was the same with our wedding cake. I remember ours wasn't even as tall as yours get. And I remember just driving. It was like, you know, pack it in as tight as it can. Any movement is not an option.
Yeah.
Hard braking's not an option.
People are honking at me because I'm driving like 20. And so now I have something on my car. It's like, hey, wedding cake delivery in process. So people won't scream and curse at me on the road because I'm driving so
Cake
slow.
on board.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. You have to do that because then people are looking at you like, why are you going so slow? Because you don't want it to move.
Yeah.
But then you want to get there as fast as possible because it's so hot down here and my car is blaring, and you wouldn't do it if you didn't love it. Because the stress of it, just the delivery itself is
Have you ever tried, I mean, yeah, you couldn't even put it in like a cooler bag or something like that, could you?
Right. And my next investment is a van, so I can put a cooler box in there. That is my next investment because I'm tired of fighting with the Florida sun. I'm not moving. I'm not going anywhere. The beach is right there. And so that's why I live here. But that is my next investment, is a van, so I can block out the sun during my delivery, so I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, isn't it funny? It's not even like the making of it that's probably not the stressful part. It's the delivery, isn't it?
Yes, the delivery, making it, I've gotten it. Okay, when I started, making it was stressful, and if anything went wrong, everybody in the house knew that something went wrong, and they were like, Melody, we can't live like this. We have to kind of get a system, straighten things out. So now I have a very delicate system, and it works, and nobody's stressed in the house. And my son used to be like, Mommy, you're baking again? Oh no, because I would be stressed out all the time. And so now it's not like that. And so the stress comes on the delivery and just trying to keep everything cool, because I make everything fresh with butter and sugar, and there's no preservatives or anything like that to try to keep it together because it's all fresh.
Well, you don't need preservatives because they don't last long.
Right. That's my point. That's my point. Like, if my cake lasts longer than 3 days in somebody's house, something's wrong.
Something's up.
And not saying it's good because I make it. It just is good.
Look, again, the fact that, I mean, I can easily say no to food but before midday. Easy, because it's just my habit. But the fact that, you know, the tray went around last week and I caved, and I was like, I'll have it. You know, it was a classic, like, I'll just have a little bit. But then it was like, no, I have to finish it. Then I don't want to waste half a cupcake, especially one this good.
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot to me that you say that. It really does.
Well, it's so evident, the passion that goes into it, which is why it's like, I mean, I know, especially with like posting on, if you did the right sort of content, I think it'll go far. Like, you've got so much. You haven't even just got the food. It's like your personality, your look, your energy, that mixed with perfect looking food. You're sitting on a gold mine. It's just accessing it and taking that. It's the same as when you first started doing cakes. Oh, I'm going to be terrible. Oh, this is but it'll be like that when you start posting. And like posting, I guess, with the right sort of design. But I think those pieces of content, you know, like people love food. They love cooking shows. And when there's the personality behind it, where it's just like, oh, hey, I'm doing this. And again, your energy just radiates out of you. People are just going to watch it, even just to watch you. And then they'll be like, I need to try these.
Oh, thank you. nerve-wracking. It's always been nerve-wracking for me to be on camera, and so that's why I take pictures. It's like, hopefully it came out. If there was a scratch and sniff feature on Instagram, people would love me and I would be a millionaire. But being on camera, I've always been kind of nervous doing that part. And I said, Melody, you gotta, when you asked me to do this podcast, it's like, listen, just step out and do something that you don't want to do, and therefore it will be great if I don't want to do it. And this year, that's what I've been telling myself all year. This year is going to be different. If I don't want to do it, I'm going to do it because it's time to get out of that comfort zone. It's time to get out of there and do something big and do something great. And that's what I want Sweet Melodies to be, a household name. I want people to know, it's like, oh, where'd you get those? Oh, yeah, that's a Sweet Melodies buttercream right there. And because the one time I was doing, I did cupcakes for a party, and this girl in my church, and every time we have something for church, I would make something for a church dinner or something like that. And she went to this party, and she's like, this is Melodies buttercream, isn't it?
Ooh.
And she called me, and she's like, did you make the cupcakes for this party? I was like, yes, I did. She's like, I knew it was you. And I'm like, that's my first person that knows my taste, my flavor. And I want everybody to know what my stuff tastes like. And if there's cake in the conference room, I want it to be my cake. I want people to know that, oh, you have to get this from Sweet Melodies, or you have to get this from, this shop down the road. They carry Sweet Melodies buttercream. And so if I could just get that out in stores, and eventually that's coming down the pipe, everybody. I'm gonna start working on that because I want it to be a household name. Yeah.
And again, it's like when I see someone who has you've got it, if then that makes sense. Like, someone can have a great product, but then it's like them as a person is just like, all right, they're a little bit bland, kind of like, I guess the accountant analogy, where it's like, all right, you can be amazing at numbers, but then you talk to someone who doesn't get it and they're like, well, yeah, what? And you're like, all right, no, you should be on camera. But every time I see you, your energy is high. It's like you've got little quirks that are so unique to Melody that I'm like, oh, this lady needs to be on, just have her face out there. And because, again, you've got all the three things, which is like the personality, the product, and the energy.
Oh, thank you. Like, it blesses my heart to hear you say that, because 2-3 years ago, I was not this person. And when I tell people that, they were like, no, I can't imagine you being an introvert. When I tell you I'm an introvert at heart, I'm an extreme introvert. And my twin sister, she is an extrovert. She's never met a stranger. She was homecoming queen, beautiful. She's an amazing person. She is my person. And I was more of the introvert, and I was only a cheerleader because she's like, Mel, come and be a cheerleader with me. I'm like, no. And she's like, come on, let's do it. I'm like, all right, fine. And I end up having a great time. And so a few years ago, I was in the finance industry, and you can't have a good business in finance if you don't talk to people. And so it forced me out of that introvert comfort zone. And then I joined Master Networks, and because I needed my finance business to grow, so I joined Master Networks. And because of those two businesses, or those two groups, it forced me to kind of learn how to talk to people, learn how to have conversations and things like that. And now, the me that I am now, I'm like, man, I would have had so much more fun in life had I been this person 20 years ago. And so, because before I would just go to work and come home and find a game that was on and watch TV, go to bed. That was it. That was kind of my life. And now I have so much more fun because I can interact with people and talk to people. And it took a while to get to where I am right now, but I totally love it, and it means that the work my sister put into me to get me to be an extrovert, it has paid off, and I appreciate you saying that more than you know.
Yeah, and it's also it comes with your passion, and like, because when people have a passion, the energy comes naturally. So when you're talking about this, like your sweets, the ingredients, you don't have to think. Right. It just comes naturally, and that's usually where the magic happens, is because it's like you don't have to think. It's just coming out organically. If I ask you about the Madagascar vanilla bean, it's like blah, 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 and it's just coming and free flow. in information, and because you actually enjoy it and you enjoy the process, the outcome, you don't even have to think about being extroverted or introverted. It just is.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Because when my brother-in-law married my sister, I was getting into the finance industry. I left the medical field to do cake a little bit. My sister meets her husband. They get married. And I get into finance a little bit later. And I took a break from cake and everything. And so we're all on a cruise. And I was the total third wheel at the time. But they did this couples thing, and I was off by the pool and things like that. And so the next morning, they introduced me to this couple that they met at this couples gathering. And the wife has a cake business. And so her and I are talking, and we are just going back and forth with her flavors, my flavors, what she specializes in, what I love to do, things like that. I have an edible printer. So if you want, edible images and
Edible printer?
Yes, there are edible printers out there. So if you want your logo on a cupcake, you can print out an edible image, and it's edible ink on paper that you can bite into, and it's sweet. And
you just eat the paper?
Yes, you just eat the whole thing. I try not to use anything that you cannot eat on my cakes.
I appreciate that.
Right. The only thing I will do, like on wedding cakes, sometimes artificial flowers I'll use because of pesticides, things like that. But yes, and so I'm talking to her about my edible printer and things like that. And my brother-in-law and my sister are just kind of standing, waiting on me to finish talking to this lady. And her husband is waiting on her to finish talking to me. Finally, he's like, honey, we have to go. And she's like, oh, okay. So we become friends on Facebook, and we still talk and things like that. And my brother-in-law, after she walks away, he's like, Melody, listen, you love finance. I know. He says, but your specialty is cake. He's like, I have never seen you talk about cake the way you talk about cake to this person. He's like, I know you do it, and I've gained 50 pounds from marrying your sister. He says, but the passion that you just displayed, I have never seen it come out of you, and this is what you're supposed to be doing. And I was like, oh, thank you. He's like, no. It's not just thank you. He's like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I need to consider that. And I fought it because I love finance. There's a great reason why I'm in finance, but I can't let it go, because it's what I think about when I wake up in the morning. It's what I think about when I go to bed at night. Because if I think of a flavor, it's like, oh, what? And that flavor will not leave until I try it and make it and have somebody test it out for me. And it's because I'm a foodie. I love sweets myself, and I can't lose weight because I eat my own stuff and my quality control. And so when I say love is an actual ingredient, it is, because I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it.
Yeah. And it's also like, I mean, my wife says it as well. She goes, every second person has a cupcake company, especially where she comes from, which is West Virginia. Like every lady seems to start a cupcake company and they close within a couple of months. But when you've got that passion, that drive, and it sounds like you've got this support network as well, which is like, hey, you have to do this. Like, yes, you could do the finance, and I'm in the scope of things, it's probably quote unquote safer. But
of course,
it'd be safer, but would you be as happy versus, a little bit of danger? And I think if you haven't got a little bit of anxiety doing what you love, you shouldn't be doing it, because, it's, if you're not worried that it will fail, then you're not that invested in it.
Right.
And that also comes out with the reason why it's so good, because for you, having someone say to you, it was all right, I think that'd crush you.
It does. It does. like
a pass is not okay in your books.
It's like, oh, it's all right. I could. Yeah. No, it will devastate me. That's how, because my tagline is, so delicious your mouth will sing. And if somebody bites into it and they don't like close their eyes, or they're not like, oh, that's good, then I didn't do something right. Then it wasn't good enough for me, because that's where my perfectionism comes in. And when people bite into it and they're like, oh my God, that's why I do this. Yeah. Because that's my payback. If I could get paid in that, I tell people all the time, if I could just get paid and just like That's good. I would be a gazillionaire. I really would.
Well, you do. Like, it's the product. People pay for the product. Then I guess the product payment pays the bills, but then the satisfaction is
Right. That is what I personally get paid in. That is what feeds my soul into, and what helps me continue growing this business and wanting everybody to feel as good as you just felt when you tasted it. That's my goal.
You want to break them before midday.
Yes, I'm so sorry I did that to you, but it was worth it. It's only one cupcake.
It's true, yeah. They're so good. I mean, like these ones. Actually, let's just open these up.
Yes, those are Nutella. It's a chocolate cupcake with a Nutella buttercream. I put nuts on too. I didn't know if you like nuts or not.
Oh,
but
who doesn't?
Yeah.
It's Nutella. It's in the name.
Exactly. And so they're super good.
It's funny,
they're
even
hot
getting
off
them out, I want to be careful. I'm like, don't break it. It's like it's about to get eaten. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, there you guys. Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
Hot
off the press.
This isn't doing it justice. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. You just got to check some of these out because. All right, moment of truth.
Okay.
No, you know,
be totally honest. Be totally honest with me.
Okay. There is an aftertaste to it. It wraps around your tongue. Oh, I'm gonna need water though. It's so good, but I want to make sure I can have a second bite.
Good. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah,
it's always so stressful. It's like, oh my God, my heart's beating so fast when people bite it.
That's always the way.
Yeah.
No, like it literally. The only way I can describe it is it wraps around my tongue. And give me a second bite. I need a second consultation.
Yeah.
This is a terrible podcast for people listening. I'm sorry, guys, but it's funny. So there's something to. It makes me eat it delicately, and you can ask my wife. I scoff stuff down. Like, I don't appreciate the food, but yeah, like it's not just like it's weird. I wouldn't even guess that's Nutella.
Really?
Yeah. There's like I can taste the hazelnut in it, but I don't know. The only way I've never. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm overthinking it, but I've never tasted on the side of my tongue and under. Like that's the only way I can describe it is it wrapped around my tongue.
Oh, can you taste it all around?
Yeah,
underneath?
which is weird. Normally, it's like I tasted it under my tongue, or at least felt it. I don't know. Whatever it was, yeah. Sorry, guys, you're gonna have to listen again to another bite. So while I'm chewing like a disgusting man on a podcast, run them through what's actually in this.
Okay, so my cake is a triple chocolate cake. There's 3 types of chocolate.
In this one?
In the chocolate cake itself.
Oh, wow.
And so if you like chocolate, there's actually 3 types of chocolate in the chocolate cake. And the Nutella buttercream has butter, sugar, Nutella, vanilla. That is it.
Okay.
And most people, they put shortening and all of these other ingredients to stabilize it. Nope, it's just authentic buttercream with butter, sugar, vanilla, and Nutella.
It's weird. I'm not overstimulated from it either.
Right.
You know, like it's not that. That's one of my griefs I've got with sweets in America. Is they always have that super fake taste. I can't stand it. Like coffees, for example, here when they use the syrup, even just the syrup here compared to European countries in Australia, tastes so artificial.
Right.
Whereas with that, it's funny. I haven't got like it's sort of like I feel content. I'm not stimulated,
right.
for lack of a better description.
A lot of people tell me that, oh, it doesn't taste as sweet as I thought it would. Like, because I have a cake, it's called the Bowdler chocolate cake, and named after a client who said, I wanted the chocolatiest chocolate cake you can think of. Chocolatiest. And he was my former science teacher. Hi, Mr. Bowdler. He's an amazing person. And I said, okay, I will make you the chocolatiest cake that I can think of, and it's my triple chocolate cake. It has a chocolate buttercream with a chocolate ganache outside with chocolate covered strawberries and blueberries on top, and it's a chocolate explosion. And you think when you bite into it, it would just be so super sweet and overpowering that you can't eat but one bite of it, but it's not. And so a lot of that artificial sweetness, or it's like what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a brassy sweetness. Yeah. And my stuff is not like that, because even though there's sugar in it, it doesn't have those artificial sugars that create that brassy sweet that most people can't handle, or it makes your heart beat fast and things like that. I don't use those. It's just straight natural ingredient.
It's not as well, like I'm not getting a head rush. And that's probably because of the lack of fake sugar.
Right.
You know, like it is weird, and I can feel it, I can taste it, but then it's like I feel everything down. It's not this, when you have usually sweets, especially like energy drinks, I guess for an example, is like you taste it and you feel it up here in like the head. Don't feel like with this.
No, because if you look on these containers with all of these sweeteners and things like that, artificial sweeteners, high fructose corn syrup, sucrose, dextrose, all of those sugars create those feelings for you and creates that sweetness that kind of just takes it to another level, and it's not a good level. And so my stuff doesn't have any of that. And some people say, you gotta finish it. And some people say, I wish you could mail me your cupcakes, because eventually people will be able to get cupcakes mailed to their door, and that'll hopefully be coming in the next year or two, because I'm looking to open up a space to make Sweet Melodies grow. But it will still always be the same type of quality ingredients and none of that artificial stuff, because I can't eat those artificial sugars myself without feeling ill, and I don't feed them to my son. And
you always feel bad after that stuff too.
Yes, you do. You do. And once when I felt bad, I was like, I do not want that. And when I started thinking about expanding, and they wanted to put a lot of
fillers and stuff to spread it out,
and preservatives and things like that, I was like, no. That's not what I want for my brand. That's not what I want for my product.
And that's good, because I guess there's this thing, it comes from, I guess, franchising and everything, that as things get bigger, then, you should get cheaper to address the masses. Whereas I think as well, it's like you could just naturally grow and keep your price point where it's like, look at organic, for example. Organic is so expensive.
It is.
It ain't. Like it's moving. Like a lot of people are buying it. I guess the example is like a Chanel bag. Like you can get the same style of bag for like removing 2 zeros off the price tag, but they still sell a lot.
Exactly.
And so I think there's definitely a movement now towards quality, and that you don't have to sell to everyone as well.
That's what I had to get in my head. That's what I had to get in my head when I first started. I had to realize, unfortunately, not everybody is my client.
Yeah.
Because some people don't want to pay $30 for a set of vanilla cupcakes. And I understand that. But
How big's the set?
12. I sell by the dozen.
Pay $30 for 12?
Right now, because you can get 12 for like $7.99 at
trash.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
I'd be charging $40 or $50 for the 12, because that's still. I mean, that's only 12, like $2.50
a cupcake.
That's nothing,
right?
For the quality.
Exactly. And most people, I had one client who was buying my cupcakes, and his wife was like, why are we paying $70 for 2 sets of cupcakes, and he's like, listen, just wait, like, I'll pay it. You're not paying it, I'll pay it. And then he said, just wait until you taste it. And when she tasted it, she's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it now. She's like, yeah, I can't buy this at Publix. He's like, no, you can't. And I hand deliver my cupcakes. And so you get a personal service along with quality products.
Yeah. Well, look at Starbucks. They charge $6 for trash coffee. You know? And it's trash.
It is. It is. And my niece wanted the other day, she's like, can I have a cake pop? No. No, you cannot. Because I refuse to buy this, because you don't know how long they've been sitting there.
Oh,
yeah. A friend of mine bit into one, and it was not fresh inside. And so, not saying anything about Starbucks, don't come and sue me.
Oh, I'm trashing Starbucks. I'll go on the record.
Right. But yeah, we had one and we had to take it back to the store because it was bad inside.
Well, Starbucks failed in Australia.
It did?
Yeah.
No
so
way.
Starbucks has only ever failed in 2 countries. It was Italy and Australia, because our coffee culture, insane. It's like, and still cheap. That's the only thing I can't understand. So like when I see trash coffee like a Starbucks and it's $5-6 and I'm like, it's pot coffee. Like, you say it's barista, I'm like, no, it's not. The guy pressed the button and that's not barista. Barista is like the snobby, like, oh, tap 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 and
grind the beans themselves right there.
Yeah. See, that's normal in Australia. Here you have to go to like San Francisco and, you know, you get some dude with a mustache and bad tattoos, you know, and plaid shirt. Whereas in Australia, for the equivalent of maybe $2.50, $3 US, you get a coffee. Like, and the funny thing is, that's a large in Australia. That'd be like $4. But it's Stacey, my wife, not a fan of coffee. Australia made her a fan because it's that. I don't know, there's, I guess, love goes into it. Some places not. But by and large, because everyone has this high expectation, it kind of lifts everyone up. Right. And so Starbucks came in, did the classic American franchise Walmart technique, which is like, we'll just blast it so that they, you know, we'll remove enough business from the competitors that they can't keep up with us, as, you know. Because Walmart used to do that, where they go in and they wouldn't care if they were losing money for the first 2 years. They will charge cheap so that they can run everyone else out, and then they'd rise the prices back up to making money. Wow. So Starbucks tried to do that in Australia, but Australia was like, we're not doing that. No. And so within, I think, 12 to 18 months, they went from, again, it was like every single corner to all closed up except for 3 in the whole state.
Wow. And I get that. I used to, before I knew what good coffee was, I was a Starbucks person spending $5 a day, then realized, why am I spending $100 on coffee a month? And so,
yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it was, because where I worked, Starbucks was right behind the building where I worked. And so every morning or every afternoon, I need that afternoon pickup. I would go get a mocha frap, and that's what it was. And then I found out what good coffee was, and I am no longer a Starbucks coffee drinker. I'll go there every now and then, because, you know, and get a vanilla frap or something like that, more of a milkshake, but not for coffee. And I have a love affair with coffee. And I stopped drinking it about 5 years ago because it was turning into, okay, I drink 5 cups a day, and then I can't sleep at night, and then the next day I drink 5 cups because I didn't get any sleep. Yeah. And then it was a vicious cycle, and I was like, okay, I gotta get off this. And so when I quit, I wanted to punch a lot of people in the face for the first week, but then I just kept a bag of coffee in my trunk, so if I needed a pick-me-up, I just would smell the bag of coffee and then go on. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but it helped me not get back on it. And so now I'm okay. But if I smell a good cup of coffee brewing, it's like, oh my God, that coffee. And so I have to fight it every time. But there's some...
It smells so good.
It does. It does. Oh. I do have a coffee-flavored cake that I put...
That was my next question.
Yes, I do. And I do have a coffee-flavored cake that I put coffee into. And it's so hard smelling it brewing at home. And then it's like, I'm not going to drink you, but I'm going to pour you into this cake batter. and so that's why I use it.
So it's real coffee into the... What's the flavor for that one?
It's just basically a chocolate buttercream with a coffee flavor added to it instead of milk and things like that. Though there's a tiny little bit of milk in my buttercream. Instead of milk, I use coffee as the liquid, and so it just puts it just like an aftertaste of coffee. And it's not, sometimes if something has a flavor, it's like overpowering that flavor, like anything banana kind of overpowers.
Yeah.
It's just like a wave of coffee flavor in the cake and in the buttercream.
Do you get hit by the caffeine as well, or is it digested differently?
No, it's not. But it's not a lot. If you're eating a cupcake, it's not a lot.
I like a cupcake. Like, we never stop at one.
Right. So it's not that much per cupcake if you think about it. But if you were to eat 12 of them, yeah, it's about a cup of coffee. 12. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I won't have 12.
Right.
That might be overkill.
Yeah, if you still got 4, it's not bad. If you already drink coffee, then they probably won't affect you as far as the caffeine is concerned. If you don't drink coffee, like my sister doesn't drink coffee, so she doesn't eat anything with caffeine or anything like that. And so when she tried one, she's like, "Oh yeah, I can feel that," because she doesn't drink anything with caffeine, and so she can feel it. And
good for her. I can't do that.
Oh yeah, I know.
I try and go sometimes like. I had a rule for a while where if I had 2 I don't drink, 2 caffeinated drinks in a day, I had a rule of I have to go 2 weeks or 3 weeks with no caffeine.
Oh, wow.
I'm back on 2 again, and I keep pushing back my reasons about why I'll go.
It's hard. I know. It's hard to give up on caffeine because I still do a lot of chocolate. I still do sweet tea and things like that. And Arnold Palmer, that's my go-to.
What was that?
And Arnold Palmer.
What's that?
Where you mix half tea and half lemonade. And I always do it with sweet tea. And so you can do it without sweet tea, but then it just tastes like dirty water to me. So I need the sweet tea.
Unsweet tea here is... No, I'm not a fan.
No, me neither.
Have tea or have sweet tea?
Yeah.
I get it.
I don't either. I am a sweet tea fan, but I'm a sweets person. I love sugar. And so you have lemonade and sweet tea and you do like a half and half. It's so good. You got to try it.
Okay, I'll have to try
I had
that.
one on the way over here.
Yeah,
I did.
They're that good, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. And so wherever I go, it's like, yeah, I'll take an Arnold Palmer because he's a golfer that had a brand of tea lemonade drinks. And so that's why they call it Arnold Palmer.
Interesting. So he's just attached his name forever to it. Mm-hmm. That's some good branding.
Yeah, that is. He's an old golfer. Like if you look up Arnold Palmer, like one of the best golfers in the world who just happened to drink tea and lemonade mixed together, and it turned into a thing for him. So
good on him. That's a cool thing when you can monetize your own habits. Like, you know what? I like this. I'm gonna sell it.
Right? Yeah. If you go to Publix, they have it in the can. Arnold Palmer. Like
I'm gonna have to look when I go to Publix.
Yeah. Look it up. It's so good.
I have I basically visit Publix once a day. It's not good. I can't batch order for some reason. In America, I'm terrible at buying for like the next 4 days or like the next 5 days. I don't do it here for some reason, which is stupid because everything's so far away.
Exactly.
Like Publix is at best a half an hour round trip. I'm like, why did I do that?
There's a Publix 5 minutes from my house and I'm there. I have to pass by it to go home. And it's like, oh, I got to stop and get this. I got to stop and get that. My son's like, Mommy, whenever we're in this lane, we're going to the store. I'm like, is it that obvious?
He's got your systems down.
Yes. He said it 3 days ago. He's like, whenever we're in this far lane, I know we're stopping at Publix. And I'm like, you're right. We're stopping at Publix.
Smart boy.
And he just like, Mom, do we have to stop at Publix again? Like, why couldn't you get what you needed yesterday when we stopped? And I'm like, I didn't know I needed something else today. And I usually need something every day. And so now Instacart is my new best friend. And I'm paying a little bit, but I've gotten so much more time back because I don't have to stop. And they go to Costco. I made an order.
I haven't used Instacart before.
Oh, yeah. It's changing my life because Costco is clear across town in Fort Myers. I'm based out of Lehigh. And Costco is 30, 40 minutes across town from me. And so if I have to go to Costco, it turns into a thing. It turns into an hour and a half at least. And then, if I'm with my son or my niece, they've got to try all the samples.
Of course.
And all that stuff. And so it takes a long time. Then you got to drive the 40 minutes back and then unpack everything and break everything up because you got all this stuff. And when I made my order the other day on Instacart, I ordered it like 11:15, 12:40. The lady was knocking on my door.
Fast.
Yeah.
Wow.
She was ready and go, and she packed everything. I gave her an extra tip. I was like, that was great. And so, and I didn't have to go anywhere. I was like, oh, I will never have to set foot at Costco again.
Yeah.
Because somebody can do it and bring it to the house and it's over.
It's always, how can you buy time? That's how I gear my brain now with everything. Like, get my hairdresser to come to my house. I'll pay an extra $10. It's great. Just bought an hour and a half for $10. Whole Foods. My wife, she loves grocery shopping, but the problem is whenever you go to Whole Foods, you go to buy one or two things and you walk out with a cart.
Exactly.
And now you've just, it's a half an hour drive to Mercado, half an hour drive back, plus loitering and wandering. Now she just does it all in the app, doesn't overbuy, and I think it's $10, maybe $15, but I'm like, you just saved 2 hours of your day. Exactly.
And time is so precious to me. I tell people, and I don't know if you know this, but I lost my husband at 32 years old to cancer.
Ooh.
And that's how I got into finance. We just happened to get our financial plan done 6 months before he got diagnosed with cancer.
Oh.
And 6 months to the day, literally to the day, we got diagnosed with cancer. I was 5 months pregnant at the time. And so we lost him when our son was 6 months old. And so time to me is, ever since that happened, it's super precious to me. And if I can do something that will buy me more time, I will absolutely do that. And so I didn't know about Instacart until my sister came back from Philadelphia, and my cousin was using Instacart. And she's like, hey, I got to run to the store. He's like, why don't you just Instacart it? And she's like, what is this Instacart?
He's like, what are you, a caveman?
Yeah, like, you're going to the store? Like, what? And they don't even have bags up there. Like, when I went to visit the first time, my son and I went, and we stopped at the gas station to get a little snack because we got off the plane and we got our rental car and we wanted a snack. And I was like, can I have a bag? She's like, you want a bag for $1? I was like, no. I don't want a bag for $1. I just want a bag for my item. She's like, we don't have bags. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have bags? She's like, no, we don't have bags here in the state. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to put my stuff in? She's like, you could buy a bag for $1. And I'm like, that threw me for a loop. And so he's like, yeah, I don't go to the grocery store because I don't want to buy all those bags to bring all my stuff back. And so he just Instacarts everything. And so she came down and showed me. I was like, I don't have to go to Publix every day. This is amazing. And so people just drop stuff off on our porch and we bring it in and it's fantastic. And then I'll think of, okay, I didn't put this one thing on the Instacart, and now I have to go to the store and get that one thing because it's not cost efficient to get that one thing for somebody to go and get it and bring it. And so my son now, he knows about Instacart. He said, why can't we just Instacart it? Do we have to stop at the store again today? It's like, listen, it's just going to be real quick. It really is. And it never is. I always end up spending $100 or something because I'm walking around. Is there anything else so I don't have to come tomorrow?
Yeah.
And then I end up having to go tomorrow. I think that's how they do it.
So they don't have plastic bags now in Philly?
No.
That's cool. Australia did that probably 4 or 5 years ago. And it's a smart move because it's good for the environment, but it's also good for we call it Coles and Woolworths are the two big ones.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, not KOHLS. We have COLES, which is our supermarket. But yeah, like 4 years ago, it is funny how if something is cost efficient, they'll always market it with the the philanthropic value. Like, oh, we're getting rid of plastic because plastic's bad for the environment. It's like, if it was cheaper to have plastic, you guys would have it.
Right.
But it was like one of those great win-wins where it's like they don't have to produce plastic bags anymore. And if you wanted, you can buy those bags for like $1 as well in Australia. But you end up, you buy one and you bring it back with you next time and fill it up. So it's not like you're not buying a plastic bag, but then you throw out anyway. You're buying an actual tote bag.
Right. And that's what she was trying to offer me was a tote bag. It's like
I never remember to take him.
Yeah. No, I would never. I'm one of those people that will just like, oh, I got to stop by the store really quick and not have any tote bags.
And then you thought,
with
like,
me.
I'll have like 5 or 6 in my boot, which is a trunk in America. In my boot, we call it. But then we get into the grocery shop, and as soon as we start shopping, we're like, you're in the car.
Right.
I'll buy another one.
Right, because it's like, do I want to walk all the way out there and get it? No. And so, what made you come from Australia to here?
The wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, long distance doesn't work that well.
Oh, okay. Was she born here? Born and raised
West
here?
Virginia. She grew up in West Virginia, and then she wanted to visit Bali, and I wanted to go to Bali completely. I didn't know she existed. She didn't know I existed. Stayed at the same house by chance. I told her, we hung out for 6 days. I wasn't interested at all. It was one of those scenarios. I was like, this chick's a snob.
Oh, no.
I always tell her that. I'm like, yeah, you were a snob when I met you. She's like, no, I wasn't. But because she was so close to Australia, and what I hear almost every American say, like, oh, I've always wanted to go to America. I said to her, I'm like, you're 5 hours away. If you go back to America, you're then 26 hours of travel time away. It's unlikely it's going to happen because something will pop up. There'll always be a reason, like, especially for Americans, I think traveling 26 hours is preposterous.
It's a lot.
Whereas Australia is like anything less than 10 hours, we're like, that's really close. It's great.
Isn't it?
We're just so used to it. If we go to Europe, 20 hours flight. If we go to America, it's a minimum 14 hours. If you're going to LA, it's 14. That's the first stop. So I said to her, I'm like, you're so close. Just come visit for 12 days and, go back to Bali and then go back home. She's like, all right. And she just never left.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was wild. Went through a lot of things. I remember back in 2019 when I asked her dad for his permission to marry her. It was funny because one of his questions was, can you promise me that you'll move to America? And I was like, no. Like so many things happen. I can't promise you that I will be in one country or the other. And he goes, well, what happens if for some reason everything shuts down and we can't get to it? This is like September 2019. In my head, I'm like, this guy, when's that ever happen?
Right. Oh my God.
And 6 months later, COVID.
Right. And everything shut down and they couldn't get to her.
Yeah. I was like, did he know something?
Right. That's a funny question to ask.
I have it on video too. So like, I have proof that it was a legitimate question. And it's just, yeah.
Wow.
What happens if the world
like,
shuts down and I can't get to it? Okay, bro.
And I bet you couldn't fathom anything like that happening.
No one could. We couldn't fathom that in February or March until like the day after it happened. And then we were confused.
And then you all were in Australia at that time?
Yeah, so we were in Australia. Stace and I were in Australia. So we were there when America was kind of losing its mind a little bit. Like, lockdowns, COVID's rampant. We being an island, we could just shut down. No one could get in and out. We also have a lot less tourists. So you know how like no one really shut down until 3 months into being like, what's happening over in China? So America has, I think, 10 to 12 times the amount of tourists as we do. So America was never going to get on top of it. Like it's not possible.
Right.
Whereas Australia, we could just shut down, sort of went into a harsh lockdown for about a couple of weeks, maybe 3-4 weeks. Open back up. It was like 0 cases were a normal thing, like cases, not even deaths. So we were over in Australia when, I use it like the analogy is like, rich people when they're on one side of the fence and they're looking at, a poor area and they're looking over the fence going like, ugh, look how bad they operate and how this, that. It's like, well, you're not in the environment. Australia was kind of doing that. We'll like, look at over there and how bad they're handling it. And look how good just do what we're doing. It's like completely different environment.
Right.
That Stace got pregnant. I got my visa. She got her visa. And then within 12 weeks, we moved over here. And I was also okay moving over here. One, for a family, being around her family for the new Bob. But also, I could see the problem brewing in Australia, where I was like, this is a virus. No one's going to contain it. And if they think they can, like, going from 0 cases to 100 cases is terrifying.
Really?
Versus, well, you got to think it's all retrospect.
Yeah.
It's all, comparative. 0 cases to 100 is terrifying. Whereas in Florida, going from 10,000 to 15,000, you're like, whatever.
Right.
It's not that bad.
Right.
You know?
Right. A friend of mine over in the UK, he was talking about the cases over there. I was like, that we have 50,000 cases right now. And they were like, oh, yeah, we've got 30 cases. And I don't know. I was like, we've got 50,000 cases as of yesterday. And he's like, what? We were having more deaths as a state than his whole country.
Yeah.
And with us, the way it happened is my son went on spring break in school. He was in 2nd grade. He went on spring break and never went back. I still homeschooled. This is our final week of homeschooling for 4th grade. And he has asthma, and so we were terrified. The kids didn't go anywhere for 8 months.
Yeah.
And my sister and brother-in-law and their daughter and my son and I, we all quarantined together at my house. And my sister, who's a traveling nurse, she traveled in the midst of COVID. She was helping people, and her and my aunt were nurses. And what they've had to live through is something unimaginable for most of us. And so while my brother-in-law and I were kind of staying home and tag teaming the kids and everything, and I called my uncle the first week that they said we were going to homeschool through Zoom. I said, what am I supposed to do? I am not a teacher. I don't know. I'm freaking out. And he's like, Melody, listen, we're all trying to figure it out. You can do it. Because I come from a family of teachers. I was supposed to be an English teacher, but I bucked the system and went into the medical field. But now teaching my son over the past 2 years and teaching my niece, teaching her how to read has been it's been hard. Teachers, you're worth your weight in gold wherever you are out there. But teaching her how to read, and now she's reading on her own. It's like, oh my God, I did that. And now I'm retiring. This is my last year. I'm a retired teacher. I'm putting that on a resume if I ever need to put one out. And to know that I helped with that was what I was supposed to do. It is exhausting, it's tiring, and people need to pay teachers more money, but it was worth it to me to keep both of them safe, because had my son gotten COVID, it could have been detrimental to him with asthma and things like that.
Yeah. It's weird though, because I mean, I'm asthmatic as well. It's controlled now, but when it first came out, it was a respiratory illness or virus. It was weird because as it unfolded, it seemed like it affected more cardiovascular related issues than asthma. Because when I got it, I mean, I had monoclonal antibodies, kicked it in less than 24 hours.
Right.
It was gone.
Right.
Gone.
When my
I was like, why are we not talking about this? And when we talk about it, it's a scam, or it's a QAnon related thing. It's like, well, hold on. I got a fever Saturday night. Monoclonal antibodies 11, and I know I tested myself, it was positive. Got it at 1 p.m. Sunday, and I was negative, well, not negative, sorry, I was symptomless 100% by midnight. Like 24 hours.
Yeah.
Gone.
My sister and brother-in-law, when they got it, somebody didn't test for Christmas, and the whole house got it, and I was supposed to go up to visit, and I didn't because somebody got it, and then my niece got it, then my sister, then my brother-in-law. They got the antibodies. Within 24 hours, my sister said she was feeling much, much better. And so I stayed here. They were in Georgia. I stayed here, somehow got it. Like, I have a hand washing station in my trunk. Like, I don't know how I got it. I really don't. I wash my hands. I have gloves, my mask, and everything.
Well, it travels by air.
Yeah. And so somehow, some way, I got it. My son didn't, though. And I went to schedule my antibodies, and they shut it down that day that I tested positive. And I'm like, oh no, it was the worst 2 weeks of my life.
2 weeks.
Had I not been vaccinated, I believe I would have been one of those people in the hospital. Absolutely, 100%. And to the point where I had to have my grandmother come pick up my son because I couldn't get up and even make food for myself, let
Yeah.
alone food for him. And I'm pretty sure he didn't want to eat warmed up chicken soup from the can for 2 weeks. And so that's kind of how it worked out for me. So I went looking for the antibodies, but
Yeah.
they had stopped them by that time.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense because I know when I got it, Stace was she was bragging about how she didn't have it. She's like, I'm around you all the time and I haven't got it. 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, she gets hit by it. Completely unrelated to me. It was like, it seemed like it hit me first. I jogged it off and then the rest of the family got it around the Christmas time. And it was interesting to see the ones that didn't move around were the ones that got hit for longer. So the more you let it hit you, and I know like this is just anecdotal, but the more you sort of mentally let it hit you, it lingered a lot more. So like I was like, nah, I'm gonna kick this. And yes, I had the monoclonals. That definitely helped. But you know, I was like, nah, I'm gonna be fine. Gone. Father-in-law, same thing. He's like, nah, I'll be fine. Jogged it off. You know, a couple of days later, my wife, my mother-in-law, the more that they'll be like, oh, I feel so bad, and like would say how bad they kept feeling, it just lingered and lingered and lingered and lingered.
Because I was definitely saying how bad I felt.
Well, have you heard of nocebo effect?
No.
So, you know the placebo effect. If I think I'm fine, I'm fine. The opposite happens with it called a nocebo effect, which is if you think you're sick, your body makes you sick. And they've done it with, this one guy, he went to a drug trial. So like some people get the tests, the sugar pills, some people get the actual pills. And he goes into the doctor because he accidentally had a couple of them and he's freaking out. He's like, I had too many of the pills. I've got this. And like, he's got all these pains. He can feel everything, all these problems. His liver was causing problems as well because that was potentially one of the side effects was liver failure. And so his body's experiencing all these problems, even on a biological level. The doctor ends up, the other guy who was testing comes in. He goes, dude, you're the sugar pill group. You didn't take anything. You just took a bunch of sugar. And he was like, oh. And then obviously because now he's like, oh, I'm fine.
He's fine.
Everything's starting to get better. But the fact that even if like people have been misdiagnosed, like the doctors brought in the wrong papers in the past being like, hey, you have cancer of the bowel or something like that. That reality ends up making them have the symptoms and actually the shutting down of their bowel.
Wow.
The brain is that powerful that it can create illnesses if you genuinely believe you have it.
Oh my goodness, because I'm going to have to really consider that because I am hyper vigilant because my husband died of abdominal cancer. And it was a very rare, only 7 other people in the country were fighting it at the time he was fighting it. Yeah, very super rare. Usually people between the age of, if they're younger than 5 or older than 70 is the age group of people that was fighting the cancer that he got. And so when he got it and we were in Moffitt Cancer Center, they were like, yeah, this is very rare. The fact that you're 31 fighting this is even rarer.
Yeah.
And so now I'm hyper vigilant about if my son has a stomach ache, if he has anything like that, I'm like, listen, you got to let me know if your stomach is hurting because I need to know. And so I'm hyper vigilant when it comes to thinking about cancer and stuff like that. So I'm going to have to research that and stuff like that.
The nocebo effect. It's a fascinating one because it just shows you the power of the mind and how, I've heard of other case studies where people they believe themselves into getting better. And I know it sounds so hokey, but it's just that will, like your brain creates a reality for you, that people can literally make themselves actually sick by focusing. It's like germaphobes.
Right.
Germaphobes are usually the sickest people.
Yes.
But if you're avoiding something so much, how can you be so sick from it? That's obviously, there's a combination of because they're constantly spraying everything that they never build up autoimmune system that's strong. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff behind that.
I am going to research that. Thank you. That's super interesting. Never thought I'd learn something like that doing something like this. Wow. And so I'll definitely and because of what happened with my husband, I learned that it's time to, it took me a minute to get past that. And this August will be 10 years that he's been gone. And I said, okay, I was sad for a very long time. Now it's time for me to move out of that. And I think the person that I am now helps me move out of that and think about, you know, you only get one of these lives. Life is urgent. You got to live it to the best of your abilities and to do what you love to do. And I can't be thinking about, you know, cancer and sickness and making sure my son goes to he had a doctor's appointment yesterday because he's got a cough, but to not make his life miserable because I'm terrified that something may be coming down the pipe for him, and then he gets all nervous that something is wrong. And
it creates
like
neurosis.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's a tricky thing, and I mean, I've never experienced loss like that. It's this hard thing where it's, what is it? In nature, nothing means anything. Like, nothing means anything. Meaning that, you know, you see... nothing makes sense. Sorry. So like nothing's good or bad. If something's good or bad, that's a human structure of putting that on. And when beautiful things end, it's like, it's that hard journey of accepting it, and you can learn from it. And like, this is me speaking outside of your husband, but in anything that's bad, like I know when my grandfather passed away and my other grandparents passed away, it was tough, but I was like, I need to process it and accept it as quick as I can, because otherwise, I'll hold on to it. And,
exactly.
You know, and it builds fear, you know?
It absolutely does. And a friend of mine, he called, it was 3 days after we lost him. And a friend of mine called me and he said, hey, how are you doing? How is he doing? And I'm like, he didn't make it, things like that. And he's like, listen, I know this is hard. He's like, but you have got to deal with this as soon as you can. He's like, because if you don't, 7 years will go by and you'll be like, what happened? And I was like, oh no, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And when the 7-year anniversary came up, I was like, oh my God, has it been 7 years? And I look around and I'm like, what have I been doing with my life? What have I accomplished in these past 7 years? And it was basically nothing. And that is when I decided to, okay, Melody, you've got to learn how to talk to people. You've got to learn how to grow your business. You've got to learn how to put your passions out there and put your best face forward. And so the past 3 years, this is the person that I've been working on. And so when my family looks at me, they're like, well, you're just the same old Melody. But the people in my networking group or the people in my Primerica office, they know how far I've come, because I was the quiet person in the back of the room who I was the last one to get there, first one to leave, so I didn't have to talk to anybody. and now I'm the president of that networking group, and I'm in the forefront of that group. And in my Primerica office, I was afraid to just, hey, silence your cell phones and do that intro speaking and things like that. But then I would do 2-hour Saturday trainings in front of the room. And so I've grown as a person in those past 3 years, because at year 7, I realized that I was stuck in that sadness. I was stuck in that space. And doing cake helped me pull out of it when I'm stressed out or anything like that. My sister, have you baked anything recently? And I'm like, you know what? No, I haven't.
I need to know.
Right. And so that's kind of how I got pulled back into it, because it was always a stress reliever for me. And if I'm stressed out and she's like, yeah, have you baked anything? And nope. Let me get on that. And then I would do it and it would taste good. And I'd either take it to Sunday dinner, or we'd have a meeting at the office, and I'd bring something to the office for people to taste. And that's because what am I going to do with all this cake? First of all, I can't eat it all myself. And so that's how I got my outlet out. And then when we lost our mom last year, I said, is there anything I would regret? If something happened to me, what would I regret? And my only regret, and it came up instantly, my only regret is that I didn't give Sweet Melodies a fighting chance because I loved it so much. Why didn't I go after what I loved? And so now that's what I'm here to do.
Beautiful. So it taught you, I guess, yeah, it seems like you've learned the biggest lessons, and I guess it's normal too, but from the biggest losses.
Absolutely. And my mom, she was an amazing woman, funny. I get a lot of my humor from her. And when we lost her, I'm like, because she was in the hospital and she was doing better and improving. And then in 3 days, she was gone. Yeah. And so I said, something could happen to me where I could take a turn. Anything could happen. Yeah. You know, car accident, whatever. And I said, is there anything I would regret? And it was Sweet Melodies came up. It's like you love it too much to just have it on a shelf somewhere. So it's time to go after it.
Yeah, that's cool. Mm-hmm. Well, you're very good at it.
Oh, thank you. thank you. I put a lot of time into it, on and off since 2009. And
what flavors haven't worked?
The worst one I make a great lemon curd. But I
talk dirty to me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I love lemon curd.
Lemon is my personal favorite. Now, I love chocolate. I could eat chocolate all day. But
see, I'll eat lemon curd with a spoon.
Yeah, me too. Oh. Me too. Because that's how good it is. Yeah. And I put like a key lime lemon something together, and it just didn't work because of you would think lemon lime kind of would go together, but that key lime and lemon curd, it was a bit too much, a bit too sour, a bit too, you know how you get all cheeky in the back of your throat right here with the lemon sourness kind of thing. That was a bit too much. That one guy had got me all self-conscious about my midnight chocolate.
He didn't like chocolate.
Yeah, I know. But now I'm all self-conscious about it.
It's like asking someone who hates rock music, what do you think of my rock music?
Yeah, exactly. And he got up in front of the meeting and everybody and told everybody how bad.
Jeez.
And I was like, you know what? Thank you for your constructive criticism. I appreciated that. All the while I'm dying inside. And that was. But the lemon and key lime, now I don't do both together. You can have one or the other, and it works. But my lemon cake with a lemon curd in the middle with a lemon buttercream, that tastes good because the lemon buttercream is not so lemony because the curd takes over. But that's one of the best flavors. But something that's been quite terrible, nothing's been terrible, is just...
Well, I mean, in like the testing process where it's like you like in your head, you're hypothesizing this would be great and this would be great, and then you have it and you're like, not great, not gonna make that.
Macarons. I've tried my
They
hand.
are hard to make.
Yes.
Oh.
But
so good.
Right. They're terrible. I almost killed my sister with macarons. Okay, because before I knew they were a thing, I was at where was I? I was at the one off of Coconut Point, the mall there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Miramar. Mm-hmm. And I was walking around shopping and everything, and I saw this little cookie place, and I was like, oh, I love these cookies. And I tried one. I was like, these are amazing. Let me buy 30.
They just melt.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I go to my sister's job, and I was like, you've got to taste these cookies. And my sister is allergic to nuts. I had
Red flag.
Right. I had no idea they were made out of almond flour. I had no idea. And she tastes the cookies. She's like, oh, these are amazing. And she eats like 3 of them because, they're kind of small. And I go home. Of course, I look up a recipe to make macarons. No. I see that they're made out of almond flour. And I'm like, I call her. And I was like, are you okay? She's like, I'm about to cough up a lung. I'm in the emergency room. And I'm like, oh, my God. They're made out of almonds. Don't do that. I said, I'm on my way. And every time I think about macarons, I think about how I almost killed my sister. And so I made the first batch was a vanilla and perfect, amazing. Every batch after that has been a terrible failure.
Really?
Abysmal failure.
So just beginner's luck.
Yeah, I don't know. And I thought now I could do different colors, different flavors every single time. It's an utter disaster. And I was making an Australian dessert for a friend of mine.
Pavlova?
No,
that
but
everyone botches them. My aunt tried to. My aunt-in-law, if that's a thing. She tried to make me one, and so generous. Like she's like, it was this thing of. It was Christmas. She's like, I made an Australian dessert. I'm like, oh, this is not going to be good because it's so hard to make.
Yes.
And like, I'm brutally honest. Like, brutally not. Like, I'll tell you how it is. And also, it's her. Like, she loves like, I don't know. Like, she's a sucker for pain, like emotional pain. She's like, what'd you think about it? I was like,
I mean, because what do you say? It's like that meringue on top.
Aussies don't even make it.
Right.
We go to Woolworths. We buy the meringue because we're like, we're not making that.
Right.
And then we'll just put the stuff in. We'll put the fruit and everything. We're like, all right, there you go. There's your pavlova.
Right.
It's so hard.
It is. It is. And I took a class on how to make the meringue and all that stuff. And the cake part underneath it or something.
Yeah. Like the spongy part.
Yeah. It was one of the worst things I've ever done because that was burnt. Yeah. But that the meringue on top wasn't done all the way, and I'm like, how did that happen? But the middle that happened to meet up in the right spot, it tasted amazing. But it was like I
just make pavlova middles.
Yeah, I had to laugh at how bad it actually was, and so I've had a few failures with not necessarily cake flavors, but when I've tried to expand beyond cake,
But think back to your first cake. I mean, you've improved a little bit.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. If you see my first cake and then you see the cake that I made this past weekend, you're like, oh, that's a totally different person. But I realize that I'm going to stay in my lane. I know what my lane is.
What about tarts? Because I am a sucker for lemon tarts. Like, in Australia, we have this place called Pie Face, and they predominantly sell meat pies and a couple of different other things, and they have these lemon curd tarts. Oh, like, you know how usually it's like the tart and then it's flat?
Yes.
Not these ones. Oh, like you'll bite, like the tart is probably this tall, like what's that, half an inch, but then the curd part is a good solid inch. It mounds, and I'm like, every time I walk past them, I have to get one.
You're challenging me now. I'm going to have to start.
I am. It's a subtle challenge.
I watch like on Pinterest and on Instagram and YouTube. I go into a YouTube rabbit hole with baking and things like that.
Yeah.
And I love watching people make tarts. I love when they dip them and they put the tarts on top and
cupcake version, like they're that size, like too big of a tart, too much. But those more like those little snackable ones, I think you could open like that'd be a little side, like your cupcakes, and you got your, I don't know, cup tarts.
It's gonna be a thing.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a thing. I'm gonna go home because once something's in my brain, I have to get it out.
I'm so glad I planted that.
Yeah.
I'll be your guinea pig.
Listen, I'm gonna call you. My first one out. It's like, Blake, hey, listen, I'm gonna have you try my lemon tart, and it'll be lemon for you.
Oh man, because I remember back when I worked at a bar, and there was some drinks and that they had where they required lime curd and lemon curd. I would just, you know how they have like the fancy, what is it, that triangle thing where they squeeze it out. I would just straight in the mouth.
That's how my sister, my key lime buttercream, my sister, she's going to get, she's going to go into a diabetic coma one day. Just eating she's like, are you finished with your key lime buttercream? Yeah, I'm done with it. And she just takes it and just eats it with a spoon. And everything. She's like, it's so good. And that's what she wanted for her baby shower too. And she's like, man, I don't want anything but your key lime cupcakes. I'm like, oh, okay. And so when we got back home, she was just like eating the rest of it. And so
it's just so good. It's like, I don't know. There's something about and it's only lemon curd. I couldn't get on the lime, couldn't get into it. But it's funny because I used to hate everything lemon tasting. But lemon curd just made me now, it's like I love everything lemon.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I also make a passion fruit curd.
Stop it.
I put that because passion fruit only come around once a year, and I get them from Whole Foods and everything. And the last time it was passion fruit season, a couple of months ago, I met the person here at the one in Naples, and I said, "Listen, do you have passion fruit? I heard you have passion fruit." Kind of like, "Hey, I'm an addict."
Like an addict. Get passion back, my friend.
And like, where's your passion fruit? I heard you had passion fruit here, and because I would buy them all out and make like a huge bucket of passion fruit curd. And he's like, "Well, what are you gonna do with it?" I was like, "Oh, I'll make a delicious passion fruit." He's like, "Passion fruit curd? I've never heard of that." It is so like if you love passion fruit. Like this is the thing for you.
Okay.
And I would make I dip apples in it, and I'd put them passion fruit curd in the lemon cake actually tastes pretty good, and make like a citrus cake or something like that. It's amazing. And so those are the two curds that I do make, is a lemon curd and a passion fruit curd, because both of them I would just sit there and gobble up and basically get diabetes.
Is that vegan and gluten-free? Because my wife is gluten intolerant and vegan. And if you had a passion fruit curd, you'll have to hit me up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That is vegan. That is, I can make it vegan because I made a passion fruit tart for a friend of mine in the group, in the Master Networks group, that is vegan. And when I did my first showcase, I was making everything, and I was like, oh, I don't have anything for my friend who's vegan. What am I going to do? And I looked up passion fruit tart on my on Pinterest and things like that, and so I changed some things around and made it vegan for her. And she's like, "Melody, I've never tasted anything like this before in my life." And I was like, "Is that good? Is that bad?" She's like, "No, it's the best thing ever." I was like, "Oh, okay."
You are really self-conscious with your food, aren't you?
I am. I said, "Please let me know." Oh my god. And she's like, "No, it's one of the best things I've ever tasted." And I was like, "Oh, this is now
beautiful.
A thing." Yeah. I love it when a plan comes together. And so it's great. It's great. And I am working on...
Does it have the seeds in it, or do you like...
No, I personally hand strain it.
Really?
Yeah. It is a labor of love. And one passion fruit has like this much juice. It's like, it's not even a lot of juice, like maybe enough to make it to this line right here. So you need like 5 or 6 of them, and each one is $10.
Yeah. Well, every time I eat like a passion fruit, like the classic cut it in half, scoop it, I'm like, this is all seed.
Yeah. It is.
There's barely anything in it.
So yeah, I get 5 or 6 of them together and hand strain it and push that juice over and over.
My dad would appreciate that. He has like this weird disgust for passion fruit seeds. Like just he'll see it like
really,
yeah, he hates it. Absolutely hates it.
And they don't smell great. When you open them up, the smell is not... You wouldn't think it would taste good because it's like...
I never noticed.
Yeah, it's a very... The smell is not... Like, if I didn't know any better that this juice was going to be the nectar of the gods, no way would I eat passion fruit. But my... Oh, how are we on time?
We're fine. Yeah. If you just see me checking the cameras, I'm just checking they're still running.
Oh, okay.
That's all it is. I'm a one-man show here.
Yeah, no.
I'm like juggling 2 cameras, lighting, this, talking to you. It's a lot.
Right.
I'm like a clown with the juggling,
Yeah, just making sure all the balls stay in the air. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you see me look, don't worry. I'm just like, all right, we're still good. We can still go.
Oh, okay.
But it has been an hour and a half.
No way.
I told you, time flies, man.
Yeah, you're so good at this.
Hey, it takes 2 to tango.
Oh, wow. That's good. But yeah, no, as far as passion fruit is concerned, you need 5 or 6 of them to make like just a little small pot of curd, and that's why I don't make it a lot, because it's super expensive. And that means if I spent $60 on passion fruit to make the curd, a dozen would be $100 or something crazy. And so it's so I just use it for special occasions, or if I just want to eat some myself. That's basically what I use it for, because I was gonna do some for the meeting one time, and I saw
couldn't do it.
Yeah, no, it just wasn't cost effective.
No,
spend $100 on passion fruit to
it's just so good, though.
It is. Next time I make some, I'll absolutely.
Oh, please hit me up. Hit me up.
Absolutely. I'll put some in a jar for you. It's like, here's a jar of passion fruit curd, and try it. It's super good.
Well, that's one thing. Even Stace, I think once when you visited maybe the Tuesday group, you brought like a little example where it was like a jar and then like sponge or different layers of cake. I remember Stace, if you make something aesthetically pleasing, she'll buy it. Like, this woman is like, the amount of time she's like, can we just buy it because it's so aesthetic? I'm like, you don't even know if it tastes good.
Right.
She's like, but it looks good. She was blown away by how aesthetic that was.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And even everything to do, like, she was raving, and she's like, is this vegan? I'm like, no. She's like,
Right. And that came out of trying to sell cupcakes in Florida. You just year round, no matter what I did, they would melt, and I would have to carry 4 and 5 coolers anytime I were to go and sell something. And so I was like, cupcakes in a jar. I should put them in something. Like, I should put them in a jar. And I found those little plastic, because I just didn't want a regular mason jar, because that's glass, and people would throw that away. I think that's a huge waste. And so I went hunting. You
got access to hippie market. Stace never throws out those things. Like, we have so many jars in our cupboards. I'm like, can you stop? You have a problem. She goes, but I might use it one day. I'm like, you said that about 50 glasses ago.
Yes, right. And I'm the same way, because if I see a good container, I was like, we may need that. And so, because I'm also a crafty person, I love making crafts and stuff like that. And some stuff I have things in my garage that I've had probably 10 years, but I won't let go. And so I said, well, I gotta make a product that won't melt, and if it melts, it's all melting together and getting gooey and nice or something like that, and that's easily stackable. And that's where the cake jars came from, because I needed to do something. We were having an event for Master Networks, and I was raising money for a charity, and I did give some to the charity, by the way. And I needed it was dead summer. Last year when we did something, it was dead summer. And so I needed to make sure that they could stay cool and people could eat them.
Yeah. Is that a product now as well for you? Like, do you sell them as is it a cake jar? What would you call it?
It's a cake jar.
Oh, okay.
It's a cake jar. And I sell them by the dozen, because they're labor intensive. Yeah. So you can't just like order 1 or 2. Yeah. You have to order 12. And they're $8 a jar. And they come in vanilla. They come in, I call it my chocolate royale, which is like my triple chocolate, red velvet, lemon, peanut butter and jelly. If you love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, I have a peanut butter. I have a vanilla cupcake with either strawberry or raspberry filling on the inside with a peanut butter buttercream. So you bite into it and it tastes like a decadent peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So good. And so that's a flavor. And my sister likes that flavor, because I used to pay her $1 to make all of our peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And so that one's for her. And I also have like a Reese's cup with chocolate cake and just peanut butter buttercream, and then Reese's chocolate pieces on the inside of it. Again, so good if you like peanut butter. And, and so I have like little kind of funny names for them all and stuff like that. Yeah. I also specialize in my cupcake bouquets. Those are my favorite, because my dad called one time when I posted my first one, and he's like, when did you get into flower arranging? I'm like, no, Dad, they're cupcakes. And so these cupcakes look like flowers for people. And those are the ones I spend my most time on when it comes to the decorating part of it, because people will get them and they're like, oh, this is so great, thank you. And then my friend is like, hey, when are you going to open the cupcakes? And the lady was like, what cupcakes? And she's like, the bag, you told me to bring the cake. I brought this. And she's like, oh, I thought you forgot about the cake. I didn't know what we were going to do. He's like, no, open the bag. And then when she opens the bag, you can smell the buttercream and stuff like that. And she's like, oh, I totally thought you got me flowers for my birthday. And so they taste good and they're pretty. Those are the things that I really, really enjoy making, because those go over well. They bring the most joy. And if you want to give somebody a basket of flowers instead of them just dying, they'll taste good for you. Yeah.
Do you have a shop front, or is it just
not at the moment? I don't. I work under the cottage food law out of my home. I'm looking to expand that to get into a place for people to either come. I am a custom cake artist. I'm not like a bakery where you just go in, I'll have that, and that, and walk out. And so when people call me, they think that's what I am. But I'm not. I'm more of a custom couture cake artist.
Because I can see you being like, there's a farm back in West Virginia, and they're known for their apple cider. And it's incredible. But, I mean, they do it once a month, I think, and they have seasonal apple ciders. So based on whatever apple, I didn't realize there were so many apple types, by the way, like it's incredible. But they would have apple cider specific to whatever the season is. They sell them gallons on pre-sale. They don't even like, because they've got such a name locally, they announce, all right, we're taking pre-orders, boom, they batch them all, and then like I'm talking like crates of gallons. It's wild. But I can see that being like with you in terms of if you had some sort of a shop front and it was like some sort of exclusivity where you could have like a certain, what do you call it? Like the cupcakes. Those ones you can have seasonal stuff. And it's like, all right, you pre-order for Saturday and then we'll have some left over for walk-ins. I could see that being super popular in this area.
Yes, I do something like that for Valentine's Day, for Mother's Day. Those are kind of like my Super Bowl, especially Valentine's Day. I'll put out, okay, this is the bouquet for Valentine's Day. And then people pre-order that and then I make them. I get no sleep. And because everything is as fresh as possible.
Yeah.
And so for 3 days, basically, I get no sleep while I'm making all of them. And then I deliver on Valentine's Day for everybody. And I also do that for Mother's Day. And
so you deliver as well?
Oh, yes. I hand deliver.
Really?
Everything.
You don't want that? What about them come pick it up?
Since I do it out of my home, I don't have
true.
people come to my home. Not that I don't trust your people, but
there's a reason I do the podcast at the home.
Right.
You know?
Exactly right. And so I deliver. It's also just a part of my service. It's also built into the price. So, which may not be the case with gas prices the way they are now. And so that I may have to sit down and reevaluate that. But as of right now, it's all they get $10 delivery fee, and that's part of the price that comes with it. But
is there a max radius to that?
That $10? If they're in the Cape, then it's
okay.
20. If they're in Naples, it's 20. But Lehigh, Fort Myers area, that's $10.
Yeah.
And so Immokalee is also $20 because that's far out there too. And I have family in Immokalee. I go to Immokalee all the time. But if it's just for one delivery, then it's $20. People also have to give me a little lead time in order to make everything fresh because some people call when it's, I need something like today. And it's like, no. I am sorry. I am not the one. You have to
go to Publix.
Exactly. And some people get upset about that because like, no, I want your stuff, but you don't have anything laying around. It's like, no, I pride myself on making things fresh for you. And so I need a little bit of lead time in order to do that.
Yeah.
Because that's what my pride in. I don't want to give you something that's old and not fresh. And then you come to me, it's like, oh, your stuff is bad. Then I get bad reviews and things like that. So I'd rather not get the order than for you not to be happy with my product.
Yeah. That's good. It's integrity.
Right.
Yeah. And because you're fully on your own at the moment, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I remember
I'm a one-woman show.
Yeah. Are you looking to hire someone? Because that would alleviate a lot of stress. And they don't have to do... I think I remember you speaking about... especially when it comes to food, you don't want the other person doing it wrong. But, I mean, I'm sure there's other... Like, at least some avenues that you could not outsource, but you know what I mean? Like, hire someone... Preparation of... some of the ingredients and stuff like that, where it's like, all right, cool. On your Super Bowl game days, that would, you might get a couple of hours sleep.
Right, exactly. And yes, I do eventually want to hire and expand. The thing that I have to get over is handing my baby over to somebody and trusting that they're going to care and love and do it the way that I do it. I've tried to teach a few people what I do. And my downfall with that was I tried to teach them when I needed them.
Yeah.
And you can't do that when you're under stress. And I'm like, to me, it's super simple.
And because you always end up going, oh, I'll just do it.
Exactly.
That doesn't help anyone.
No.
Doesn't help them, doesn't help you.
Exactly, because they feel bad that it's not good. And I'm rushing them to try to, because the one time I did that, I'm like, listen, it's a swirl. Like, it's a swirl. Just swirl it. And
that's hard.
Yeah.
It's like a painter going, oh, you just do this and it becomes a nice perfect circle.
Right, it's the Mona Lisa. Right. And I'm just like, listen, all you have to do is just swirl. And she's like, okay. And so I go and I start doing something else and I'm putting the bouquets together. And I come back and I'm like, no, this is no.
Yeah.
And so she feels bad and then I feel bad and I'm like, I'm sorry, and then I have to scrape it off right there and she was right there. I'm like, God, this is so bad. And so she's like, well, let me try it again. And so she tries it again and they're okay, but they're not Sweet Melodies caliber swirls. And because I'm doing all these other complicated flowers and stuff like that, and she's just trying to do a swirl and I'm making it look easy and it's not. And so if I hired anybody, they would have to have experience already, because taking time to train them on each, it would just take too much time. So if I hired somebody, they would have to have some sort of background in cake decorating or something and therefore that's when I would, if I could see that they could do something simple, then that's when I could trust it and kind of, because I'm afraid for a cupcake bouquet to go out and it doesn't look like something I would do myself. And so it's terrifying.
It is. I don't know, maybe it's just the way my brain is operated. Like I get excited by there's something about outsourcing that's exciting, and outsourcing still with quality. Like now that and it's different with like media is different compared to food. But the fact now that I got my editor where I'm like, all right, here, here's some things I like and I need you to edit. I'm doing something else. And then she's like, hey, I did the edits. I'm like, oh, this is great. And then sent, even this morning, there was a few things that in the clips she sent me, and I was like, hey, just fix this, this, and this. That's fine. And she's like, all right, cool. And she's learning, you fail forward just like we do with ourselves. With food though, it's a different thing. And I think your energy and passion will, like the person that you're teaching will want to please you, if that makes sense, which is a strength. Like, when you're genuinely passionate about it, the person who you're teaching just wants to impress you.
Oh, wow.
And that's just a natural thing. It's when you're, a bit of a butthole that people are like,
and
I don't
am
care.
not that.
No,
and I am not. And
you don't give me any of those vibes.
No. I am not that. I am not. I want people to learn. I am a people person now, and I want them to be happy with me and to be happy in my presence. And it's important for me to make sure that I am not hurting their feelings or anything in any way. And if I have a job to do, I have a job to do, and I want to get that done. And so that's why I wouldn't put somebody brand new that's never touched a piping bag in that position, because I wouldn't want them to feel bad or feel that way. And the person that I was trying to teach, they were a family member. And I'm like, yeah, you can help me out.
That's tricky.
Yeah. It's like, you can help me out. And she's like, yeah, no, I can't do this with you. And so I love outsourcing. I will outsource everything I could possibly outsource. Yeah, the trash is outsourced to my son, or everybody in my Master Networks group helps me in some sort helps me out in some sort of fashion, because I will outsource everything. And the only thing I don't is this. Like my sister doesn't even know my recipes, and people will ask me. It's like, hey, listen, I make an amazing banana pudding. I don't like anything banana, but I love banana pudding, and my banana pudding is amazing. Again, not just because I make it; it just is. It just is.
You can't deny facts,
right? Yeah, it just is. And my aunt called me one day and she's like, hey, it's your uncle's birthday, and I want to make him your banana pudding. Can you give me the recipe, and just email me the recipe when you get a chance? I was like, how dare you?
Like, so colloquial, just email me it.
Yeah, I just wanted to make it really quick, so just email me your recipe. How dare you? My sister doesn't even know. And if my sister doesn't know, that means nobody knows. Because if I shared the womb with her and I don't and she doesn't know, that means you will not know. If she doesn't know, you will not know.
That's great. She
And
shared the womb with you.
yeah, I shared the womb with this person, and she doesn't know my banana pudding recipe. And so she made it with me one day, and she doesn't. I said, "Don't write this down. I'm just showing you so you could help me," because we had a party or something, and it was for her in-laws. And I said, "Okay, I'll do it for you this time. You can help me out with it." And so we're making it, and we're doubling the recipe and stuff like that. So we're putting all the stuff in it. It's one of the worst things I make for you is my banana pudding. Don't ask what's in it. Don't ask how many calories. Just know it's a boatload, and it's terrible for you.
You need to go for a run for a week.
Yeah. Like, listen, if that's your cheat day, you need that will take over the whole month, my banana pudding. Okay? If you have one cheat day, you can't cheat for the rest of the month. Okay? And so, but it's worth it. It's worth it. And so we're making it. And she's like, "Oh, is this the double amount of this ingredient?" I'm like, "No, we need 2 of these." She's like, "Oh my God." And she's like, "Okay." And I take another ingredient. She's like, "Okay, that's the double amount, right?" And she's like, I'm like, "No, we have to double this." She's like, "No, oh my God." And then we put another ingredient in, and she's like, "Is this the double amount?" I was like, "No, we are doubling everything I'm putting in." She's like, "Mel, I'm not eating this anymore." She's like, "Nobody is supposed to eat this. Like, this is terrible." And I'm like, "But it's good." And she's like, "It's the best thing you make." But I didn't know it was this bad for you. I was like, yeah. She's like, "But it's so light and airy and fluffy." I was like, "Yeah, that's the magic that I put into this." And she's like, "Yeah, I will never eat this again." But every time I make it, she eats a lot of it.
It's hard to say no, you know, because I now got to try it. How big is it? Like, how big is it?
Oh, the banana pudding comes in like a pan, like one of those.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a
that's
big.
The normal size?
Yeah.
And you're making double that?
Yeah, we made.
That's a big pudding.
Yeah, we made 2 of those big pans for this event.
Sheesh.
Because I made one pan one time, and everybody was upset because not everybody got some. So we doubled it, and she's like, "Well, nobody should be eating this." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, this is what
they do."
Yeah, and it's good. She's like, "No, it's amazing." And so if you like banana pudding, call me too. I can help you with that too. And that's usually if you're having like need a dessert for Christmas or something like that. Besides cake, my family loves banana pudding. I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll make a good banana pudding." And everybody's like, "Hey, yeah, why haven't you been making this?" I'm like, "I just developed it, people." And so now it's one of family favorites for Thanksgiving, Christmas, stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't know if I've had banana pudding.
Listen,
I feel like I just said blasphemy.
Okay, yeah. With the lemon curd, the passion fruit curd, banana pudding, I promise I'll try not to have you gain too much weight. And it's like, "Blake, I made this. You got to come.
I already go to the gym, 6 times a week. I'll have to double it to 12.
Yeah. Especially after the banana pudding. Just get a spoonful of that and taste it and then be okay with that.
Yeah, I'll have to do that.
Or I can make you like a little jar of banana pudding. Okay,
That
I can
would
do
be
that.
Portion control.
Yes.
Because my thing is like I'll eat what's in front of me, but I know that so that I've always said like I don't try and control my habits. I control my environment. It's easier to control your environment than it is your habits. You know.
That's a good point.
Like the analogy I always do, which is like it's a crass version, but it's like. You know when people buy junk food and they be like, "Oh no, I'll have it there just in case," and I'm like. Does a man go to a brothel that's free to,
just look around?
Yeah, I'm just gonna look around. Like, well, how would you feel if you found out like your husband did that? You'd be like, "Excuse me, you take yourself out of the scenario, thank you, mister." Whereas when it's like bad habits of any other nature, it's like I go, "Oh, I just don't have junk food in the house." They're like, "Oh, you're one of those healthy people, aren't you?" I'm like, "No, I'm not one of those healthy people. That's why I don't have that junk food there." But again, it's the same. Like, "Oh, you're one of those loyal people, aren't you?"
Right. But that's a fantastic
thing.
because I blame it on my cravings and stuff like that. But
it's there.
Yeah. It's there. If
Yeah.
Oreo cookies are there, I'm eating Oreo cookies. If Oreo cookies are not there,
100%.
right.
Dude, I will eat. I bought because I went to Walmart to pick something else up. Saw the like toffee Oreos. I was like, I'll try it. I'll get it. I'll take it back to the office, and everyone else can have them because whatever. I ate 27 Oreos that afternoon. 27.
Wow.
You know, so when people say to me like, "Are you one of those health guys?" I'm like, no. But I just don't put it in front of me because you'll always become the environment you're in.
Exactly.
And if the environment is Oreos and M&Ms, and I devour it. Whereas if I make the environment where it's like, ugh, I've got water or I've got like capsicum, boring. Sorry, I think that's bell pepper, you guys call it. That's my only options. And in the moment, it's funny, I am kind of disappointed. But 10 years later, I'm like, phew, I'm glad I've been disappointed the last few years.
Right. Because you're healthier. I went to Georgia last weekend. And there's this one place that I've always wanted to stop. There's billboards for miles saying this exit you can buy pecans and fruit and stuff like that, all this different types of old type candies that I grew up with and things like that. And when I was a kid, I was always the one who always wanted to stop there, but I wasn't driving. So therefore, you know, I was like, hey, yeah, exactly. So this time I'm driving and I'm like, I've always wanted to stop there. I'm stopping there. And so I stopped there. And they have saltwater taffy. I love taffy. Do you know
saltwater taffy?
Do you know what taffy is? It's like like Laffy Taffies or something like that.
I always enjoy saying that, Laffy Taffy. I don't know why.
You have an accent, like a southern accent when you say that.
Whenever I say it, like that's how I say it as a joke. Like Laffy Taffy, I'll go Laffy Taffy. I can't help it. It's
That's
just
hilarious.
There's no other way to say it. That's some Laffy Taffy.
Oh yeah, I grew up on Laffy Taffy with the jokes in that. Yeah, but this is like homemade, wrapped in wax paper Laffy Taffy that somebody handmade and everything. I bought like 5 bags of different flavors of Laffy Taffy. I bought pecan logs. I bought coconut creams. Because I don't see that stuff around here, and nobody makes it. So I was like, this is my one chance to get all this stuff. And earlier this week, I'm looking at all the bags of taffy and pecan logs and coconut creams and stuff like that. I left the coconut creams at my grandparents' house because I opened them for Sunday dinner. I brought a whole bunch of stuff for my grandfather, too, because he's from Georgia, and he loves pecan logs and stuff like that. So I bought a whole bunch of stuff for him. I spent like $100 at this candy roadside stand or whatever. And so I open up the coconut candies and I'm like, oh no, I can't take this home. I will be I'd be dead. Go. Yeah. And so I hear you when you say change your environment because of what I do, I always have stuff to make good tasting stuff. But sometimes I just want something sweet right then. And if I don't have that, I won't feed into those cravings, because if I have to get up and I have to make cake and make buttercream, and I'm not going to do that for myself. I'm just not. And I very rarely, every now and then I'll have a little bit left over, but very rarely, because I make enough for what I'm supposed to do. And because I know that I will eat the rest of it, or so will my brother-in-law. He used to just come over, "Mel, you have any spare cake left over?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." He's like, "Oh, you have any cake scraps?" And so and then his mom and his aunt came to visit and everything. I was baking and I gave them, I'm like, "You have any extras around there?" So if anybody walks in my house, they can smell something. "You got any extras in there?" It's like, "Nope, no, I don't," because all of us are not gonna be 1,000,000 pounds because I've got extra stuff laying around. And so I like that you said if I change my environment, then it won't be there. It's
so much easier. Like, you know, I've never understood people that like quote unquote want to practice self-control. Why? Why? Let everything else determine my self-control.
Right.
You know, it's the analogy of the guys, even the scenario where if a guy's getting hit on by a girl, he's like, I need to remove myself from this situation. He doesn't go, I'm going to practice self-control with this beautiful woman.
Right. Right.
Or if he does hang out, again, it's like, well, I'm an idiot.
You know? Exactly. I am gonna take that away. I've learned 2 amazing things from you today.
Oh, beautiful.
And so, because, you know, I always have snacks for the kids or, you know, snacks for my son or something like that. And I'm like, hey, listen. And I told him just yesterday, I said, this is our last time coming to McDonald's. I said, I'm going to have healthy food for you because this is terrible. First of all, they never get our order right. Second of all,
really, Macca's?
Yeah, McDonald's, he can't have cheese, and so he doesn't have cheese. And on his now, because he's 10 and he's about right here to me, he's a big boy. The regular quarter pounder won't do it anymore. He needs a double quarter pounder.
Isn't that a half pounder?
Yeah. Oh my God, he's eating a half pound.
He's eating a half pounder.
I didn't.
Sounds different, right?
Yeah, it does. It sounds worse. Oh my God, I'm feeding my son a half pound of meat in the car. Oh my God, I'm a terrible mom. Don't call DCF on me, people. Yesterday was our last day, and so I told him, I said, this is the last time we're coming here. I said, because he's a tall boy, he's healthy and things like that. But, that it was just easy on the way home. I didn't have to cook anything. And I said, because I don't eat McDonald's. I'll eat their fries, but I don't eat their food.
Still haven't had American Macca's.
Yeah.
Haven't had it.
No, don't do it. Don't. It's not even worth it on a cheat day. It's worse.
It's filled with regret.
Yeah, it is. It is. I feel bad every time I eat their fries, but their fries are...
Do you know the American Macca's French fries have 30 ingredients? In Australia, 3.
Yeah, they if you eat, ants will eat anything. Ants, if you put food next to an anthill or whatever, they will take it and eat it if it's fresh. Ants will not eat McDonald's fries. Yeah, ants will not eat McDonald's fries or McDonald's buns, and that's saying something.
Yeah.
And so if it won't mold, that's saying something as well. And so they're good. And I just told him, and I joined the gym and everything like that, because I know I bring sweets and stuff to people, but I also have to get healthy and take that into account as far as my son is concerned as well. And I said, listen, I joined the gym and they allow me to bring you, and I'm going to make great food for you that's healthy and fresh. And if I'm making a burger, I'm making it because I know what's going into it, and not this processed stuff that they can't even get right at the restaurant. And so, but it's time. It's time for me to put that as a priority, because I've always been healthy, and then you turn 40 and it's like, what in the world happened? And that's kind of where I am right now. I just turned, I'm not going to tell you what I turned, but it's I'm older than 40 now. But yeah, at 40 things just kind of you're going to have to work at it. Work at it now. And
it is weird to think I'm 34 next month, like in 2 weeks. It's weird.
Really?
Very weird.
I wish if I could go back to 34. Man.
I still feel young. But it's like that weird in between where it's like, now I've got a kid. I'm like, I don't know. It's like I still feel like I'm super young, and I know that when I get to 40, I'll be saying the same thing. When I'm saying 50, like, as long as you're mentally and physically able, I don't think you feel old. I only really feel old when I speak to someone. I'm like, how old are you? Like, I'm 18. I'm like, like, that's the only time I feel old. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I had a quarter life crisis at 25, but I didn't have one at 30. Like, I didn't have a crisis. I was like, oh, I'm 30. Makes sense. Right. Weird.
My 25, I got married at 25, and I didn't have a crisis at 25. I had one at 30, but at the time I had a brain tumor, and I was like,
oh wow.
I got diagnosed at 24, and it was benign, and it made my life terrible and headaches and things like that. So at 30, I was like, I'm not living the rest of my life like this. So brain surgery it is. And I was ready to go. Like, soon as I turned 30, I was like, brain surgery. Doc, come on, let's cut this open. Let's get it out.
Wow.
And my husband was like, are you sure? Like, are you? I said, nope. I mean, I wasn't scared. I wasn't anything. And it was maybe 2 weeks after the surgery. I'm home by now. I'm in the office. I walk into the office, and all of a sudden the magnitude of it hits me, and I freak out. And I'm like, why did you let me do this? Why didn't you say anything? I just had brain surgery. I could have died. What is wrong with you? And he's like, what? And I was like, what is wrong? Why did you let me go through brain surgery? And he's like, Mel, you weren't scared at all. I was terrified, but I didn't want to freak you out. Yeah, I didn't want to freak you out. And so that's when I realized, like, oh, okay, I'm stronger than I thought. And 30, and then we went through, then a year later, boom, we're pregnant and my husband is sick. And that took me into a whole nother direction mentally. And so now mentally, oh yeah, I'm 25. And when people meet me and they don't think I'm as old as I am because I don't portray that I'm that old, I don't feel that old and stuff like that. But when your body is like, hey, you're 40, you can't get down on your knees that fast and get back up that fast anymore. That's the thing. But it's important to me now because my son, he's starting to say, no, I just want to eat junk all day. And that's not okay with me. And it's time for us to kind of make that change. And I'm excited about making that change and finding healthy recipes. And instead of buying sorbet or something that he can eat, I can make desserts for him that include fresh fruit and frozen fruit because he can't eat ice cream, so we have to do sorbet. And I love my son, but because of me and the things that I know and the flavors that I know and the places that I go for dessert and stuff like that, he is the bougiest 10-year-old that you will ever meet. And so my brother-in-law, and bougie, but in a good way, because he's a fantastic kid. He's a straight A student. He's a classical violinist. He's been playing the violin since he was 4 years old, and he's an amazing boy. But the thing about him is because I like good food and I'm a foodie, so is he. Yeah. And we go to Norman Love, and he was being picked up from school by my brother-in-law one day when I had a meeting. And he's like, oh, hey, Uncle Mike, if we're going this way, can we stop by Norman Love? I need some passion fruit sorbet. And he's like,
it's a good flavor, though.
Right, it is.
It's a fantastic flavor.
He's like, what? He's like, yeah, if they don't have passion fruit sorbet, I can go with a blood orange sorbet.
I can go with.
Like, he'll default to the blood orange sorbet. And my brother-in-law is like, what is that? Like, I don't even know what that is. He's like, where are you getting that? He's like, I wouldn't even know where to take you to go get that stuff. And so now my brother-in-law loves blood orange sorbet because my son had him stop by Norman Love Gelato Place.
Well, your son has two good, like, those are two good flavors.
Yeah, they are. And he'll order, we'll go out to dinner. We went to, we were up in Lenox, Massachusetts. And the place where by the time we got there, it was super late. There was only one restaurant open and everything. We sit down and it is a nice restaurant. Like, I'm looking at it, I was like, oh, we're in the wrong spot. Like, what is this? And so we're looking at the menu, and it's like, okay, all right, I'll get a steak. I'll get a small steak or something like that. The lady comes over, and I let him always order because he needs to learn how to order food and all that stuff. So the lady comes over, and she's like, yeah, so what you'll be having? I said, yeah, I think I'm going to have the ribeye with the risotto and stuff like that. My son's like, yeah, I'm going to have the seared duck with the... And I look at him, I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm going to have the seared duck. And I'm like...
He's a 10-year-old.
He was 9 at the time. He was 9 at the time. And she's looking at me, and I'm looking at him. I said, you're going to get the what? He's like, yeah, I'm going to get the seared duck. And, hey, Mom, look, they have blood orange sorbet as the dessert. I kid you not, they had blood orange sorbet as dessert there. And she looks at me like, you're going to let him get that? I was like, all right, yeah, let him get it.
Bouge away.
Right. And now that's just the way he is. And so when I called him, I was like, Misty, Justin ordered the seared duck. And she's like, what? I've never had seared duck in my life. I'm like, me neither. It was good. And so we tried it. But because I love food and I will try a lot of different things, so will he. And so we go out and hang out and try different restaurants together and stuff like that. So it's good.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, he's my guy. He's the best thing I ever made. He really is.
Better than the cakes.
Yeah, it's him then cakes.
All right, so we'll wrap that up. That's been 2 hours.
No way, dude. I had a fantastic time.
I'm glad, me too.
Yeah.
I'm going to have some of these later too.
Yeah, take them, please. I insist.
So anyone who's listening, watching, where can they find Sweet Melody?
Well, they could call me at 239-826-5158. They can email me at melody@sweetmelodies.net. That's SWEETMELODYS.net. Or Instagram under sweet_melodies_confections, or my website is actually being built right now.
Ooh, that's exciting.
I had a website, and then something happened with the people who were hosting it and everything. I don't know. They said it was my problem. I said it was their problem. And so now it's being built by another reputable company, and a dear friend of mine who's in business that builds websites. So I'm supporting another small business with my business, and so that's coming hopefully in the next month or two, and that will be sweetmelodies.net. Is the website will
Beautiful.
be, but it's coming. So if you want something good for a special occasion, if anybody's getting married, if you want something sweet on a random Tuesday, I can do that too.
All right. Well, thank you. And this was your first podcast, huh?
This was. Thank you. If every podcast after this is like this, then this is great. If it's not like this, then they're doing something wrong, because I felt like I was just talking to a friend and
Beautiful.
not just being interviewed and having to have a set thing to talk about.
Those ones are terrible, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Nah.
Because I've had that before, and it was nerve-wracking. And it was 5 minutes of, am I going to say something wrong? But this is great.
Yeah.
This is really
Well,
great.
thank you for having you on. Thank you for being on. Sorry. I can't have you on. I don't know. It's been 2 hours. My brain's fried.
Yeah, no. But thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Have a great day, everybody.
All right, guys. So make sure you subscribe on Spotify.
Can I say one last thing?
Yes, sure.
I do have a cupcake subscription service.
Really?
Yes. How did I not bring this up in 2 hours?
It's
See,
funny,
that's how amazing you are. I have a cupcake subscription service where, if you want cupcakes delivered to your door every month, you just pay a flat fee every month, and you get a 6 or a 12 count delivered right to your door with the flavor of the month. I have a person, and she calls every second Friday. Her and her husband get cupcakes to their door. So if you would like to be a part of that subscription service, please call me.
That's so funny. I was going to ask if you did that, or
Yes.
that'd be a good idea. So you're already ahead of that.
Yes,
That
I
is
do.
cool.
And Nutella was the flavor for May, and so now June it will be more of a summer strawberry flavor.
Okay. Summer strawberry. All right, guys. Make sure you do that too. All right. Make sure to subscribe, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Woo. Alrighty.
Oh my God.
That was fast, right?
Yeah.